What if I told you the difference between walking confidently at 70 and breaking your hip from a stumble is measured in milliseconds? The time it takes your nervous system to fire, your muscles respond, and your body to catch itself. That's what we're talking about today. The dynamic effort method. This isn't about getting huge. It's not about how much weight you can lift. It's about training the one quality that disappears first as we age. And it has the most devastating consequences when it's gone. Your ability to move fast. While everyone else is doing cardio on treadmills and stretching in yoga classes, resigned to the idea that decline is inevitable, our members at the Strength Laboratory are doing something radically different. They're unlocking a hidden capacity. They're reversing neurological decline. They're building the kind of power that keeps you independent, reactive, and dangerously well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Let's get into it. Now, here's something most people don't know. You have two main kinds of muscle fibers: slow twitch for endurance and fast twitch for power and speed. Type 2 fibers, the fast ones, and guess which ones you lose first as you age? The fast twitch fibers, type 2X, your explosive, high speed muscle fibers, are first to go. They start disappearing in your 30s. By 50, you lost significant explosive capacity. By 70, without intervention, they're almost gone. Research confirms it. Movement velocity is an increasingly important determination of maximal power output with advancing age. And the cruel irony, speed becomes more important as we age. For catching ourselves, for reaching for emergencies, yet it's the first thing we lose. And what's everyone doing about it? Cardio, stretching, slow controlled movements, activities that do nothing to preserve fast twitch fibers. At the Strength Laboratory, we take a different approach. Type 2X fibers, your explosive, high-speed muscle fibers, start disappearing in your 30s. By the time you're in your 50s, you've lost significant explosive capacity. And by 70, without intervention, they're almost gone. Here is the critical thing. These fibers control your explosive movements and reactive strength. The ability to catch yourself when you stumble. The ability to move quickly in an emergency. And here's what most people don't understand. Traditional cardio and slow lifting do not recruit these fibers. You can run on a treadmill every day and literally lose every fast twitch fiber you have. You can lift weights slowly and safely and watch your reaction time deteriorate. Without deliberate high-speed training, you cannot preserve them, period. This is why the Strength Laboratory exists. We're not a gym. We're an intervention against the decline everyone else accepts and resigns themselves to as being inevitable. But it's not just the muscle fibers themselves, it's the wiring. The neural pathways that tell those fast twitch fibers to fire. They degrade. Research shows there's a reduced motor unit firing rate, slower nerve conduction velocity, and impaired motor unit synchronization, all of which impact muscle contraction, coordination, and force production. The brain loses the ability to communicate rapidly with your muscles. Rate of force development, how fast you can produce force, plummets. Motor unit synchronization, the timing between different motor units, gets sloppy. Your reaction time slows. And here's the remarkable findings. Lifelong strength trained elderly demonstrate motor unit discharge rates that are 25% higher than untrained individuals at the same age. Even more striking, after training, maximal motor unit discharge rates no longer differ between old and young subjects. The decline isn't inevitable. It's a training problem, and at the Strength Laboratory, we solve it. Now, let me give you some numbers that should scare you. 300,000 Americans over 65 are hospitalized for hip fractures every year. 20 to 30% of them will die within 1 year. Not from the fracture itself, from the cascade that follows. Bedridden, muscle loss, pneumonia, blood clots. Half the people who break a hip will never walk normally again. And what causes these falls? It's an inability to react quickly enough to loss of balance. Research puts it perfectly. From a practical standpoint, it's more like an older adult will have to move an object of low external resistance quickly, requiring velocity. Then, to move an object of high external resistance slowly. Tasks such as moving the lower limb quickly to stabilize the body after losing balance, or from the accelerator to the brake while driving, are encountered frequently. This is a speed problem, a fast twitch problem, a nervous system problem, and it's exactly what we train at the Strength Laboratory. Now, here's where things get specific. Dynamic effort training happens in a specific velocity zone. We're talking speeds above 0.65 meters per second and up to 1.3 meters per second or faster. Training below 0.65, you're in the strength territory. Above that, you are in true speed and power training. We measure this in real time using velocity-based training technology. Every single rep gets tracked. If you're not hitting the right speeds, you're not training the right adaptation. Over 6-week training cycles, we rotate the emphasis. During accumulation phases, we use dynamic effort long. Higher velocities, lighter loads, slightly longer duration efforts. During intensification phases, we use dynamic effort short. Heavier loads, at the lower end of the speed zone, maximum power output. This precision is what separates the Strength Laboratory from every other facility. We don't just guess, we measure, we track, we optimize. When you move a resistance explosively with maximum intent, you're doing something very specific to the nervous system. What you're doing is you're recruiting the high threshold motor units, the ones that control your fast twitch fibers. Those are the ones that disappear first with age. If you never ask your nervous system to fire rapidly, those pathways atrophy. Use it or lose it. Dynamic effort training forces your nervous system to recruit those motor units and fire them in the right sequence. Research shows that rate of force development is reported to increase by 1 to 4.5% per strength training session in older adults. Now that's measurable neurological improvement from a single training session. You're literally rewiring your brain to fire your muscles faster. This isn't theory. This is peer-reviewed science. And it's what we do every single day at the Strength Laboratory. Let me walk you through the tools we use. Traditional dynamic effort work, submaximal loads on machines, dumbbells, cables, move with maximum velocity. This is the foundation. Variable resistance with bands and chains, these create chaos in the loading pattern that unlocks the hidden muscle's capacity. Vibratory training with body blades, flex sticks, and water bags, these activate the neuromuscular junction in ways conventional training cannot. Balance tools, external perturbations that force rapid reactive responses. Plyometrics and speed agility quickness drills, short burst with full recovery, maximum velocity maintained. Water provides omnidirectional resistance with reduced impact. Each implement serves a specific purpose in the dynamic effort spectrum. Each one unlocks a different aspect of your hidden capacity. This is why the Strength Laboratory members get results that seem impossible to people doing more traditional training. Now let's talk about oscillatory training. Vibratory implements, body blades, flex sticks, water bags, balance boards. Research shows that the body blade works by rapidly changing directions at a low frequency rhythm of approximately 4.5 hertz. As a result, the body reacts 270 times per minute to resist the rapid destabilizing forces. 270 muscle contractions per minute from one single implement. Studies confirm that oscillatory devices elicit short and long-term neurogenic adaptations that are unique to this type of training, including increased activation of prime movers, improve inter and intramuscular coordination, better synergistic synchronization, and enhance proprioceptive responses. Here's the beautiful part about the body blade. You create the vibration with your concentric effort. Then you have to eccentrically absorb what you just created. If you generate more force than you can absorb, the blade just stops oscillating. It's self-limiting. It's perfect neurological stimulus without injury risk. The neuromuscular junction, where the nerve meets the muscle, needs gentle, rapid stimulation. This is exactly what vibratory training delivers. Low eccentric stress on the tissue, high neurological response. Now, here's a concept most trainers have never heard of, and it's one of the most powerful tools in our arsenal. It's called variable resistance. Bands, especially, create a high chaotic loading pattern. The load isn't perfectly smooth and predictable, and that chaos does something remarkable. It allows you to innervate, to activate segments of muscle fibers that you couldn't access through conscious effort alone. Through normal lifting, you can only fire the muscle fibers your nervous system has learned to recruit. The motor programs are fixed. But with the unpredictable nature of bands and chains and water bags, it creates what I call a radiation effect. The instability ripples through the muscle, causing innervation of fibers not previously segmented. You're firing muscles subconsciously that you couldn't fire consciously. For people with neurological issues who can't activate certain muscle fiber segments, this is life changing. There is a hidden capacity that exists in every human body, capacity that conventional training never even touches. This is what the Strength Laboratory unlocks. Water bags are another powerful tool in our dynamic effort arsenal. Research shows that aqua bags promotes functional strength training by demanding both compensatory additional activity of both stabilizing muscles, specifically in the core and pelvis regions, and prime movers of the lower limb. Studies demonstrate that unstable loads increase core and stabilizer muscle activation by up to 15 to 20%. Here's what makes water unique. It creates both proactive and reactive balance challenges. The proactive challenge happens when you initiate the movement and have to control the water. But then, when the water keeps moving after you've stopped, that's the reactive challenge. And falls are caused by inadequate reactive responses. No two reps are ever the same. Your nervous system must constantly adapt. This is real world training. In life, loads aren't static, forces aren't predictable. Your body needs to handle chaos. Water bag training teaches that. Dynamic effort isn't programmed in isolation. At the Strength Laboratory, we use a complex structure, pairing it with maximal effort work in an EMOM format. Every minute on the minute. First minute, maximal effort lift. Heavy load for strength. Second minute, dynamic effort work. Speed training. Third minute, back to max effort. Fourth minute, back to dynamic effort, etc. You keep alternating. We typically run 4 to 7 rounds depending on recovery capacity. And the key rule, velocity loss is your stop signal. When you cannot maintain the speed zone, you're done. You're not training to fatigue, we're training for quality. This is precision training. Every rep measured, every velocity tracked. Zero junk volume. This is what separates the Strength Laboratory from every other facility on the planet. So here's why that complex structure works. It's called post-tetanic potentiation. When you do a near maximal effort, your nervous system gets fired up. The motor neurons become more excitable. Muscle fibers become more sensitive. For up to 4 minutes after that heavy effort, your nervous system is primed to produce more force and more speed. So when you follow that max effort lift with a dynamic effort work, you're doing it in an amplified state. You're faster than you would be normally. And here is the kicker. The dynamic effort work also potentiates the max effort work. The vibratory training turns on the mechanoreceptors that sense length tension changes. Now that primes you for the heavy lift. Then the heavy lift amplifies what the vibration started. This is bidirectional potentiation. Each one makes the other more effective. This is the kind of sophistication that only exists at the Strength Laboratory. We're not just training muscles, we are engineering neurological states. Now let's talk about something even more important than your muscles, your brain. Research from the University of Sydney made headlines. This is the first time any intervention, medical or lifestyle, has been able to slow and even halt degeneration in brain areas particularly vulnerable to Alzheimer's disease. Let me repeat that. Halt degeneration in areas of the brain most vulnerable to Alzheimer's. The conclusion? Resistance exercise needs to become a standard part of dementia risk reduction strategies. Harvard Health reported in 2025 that older adults who did 6 months of weight training improved their ability to recall recent events and information. They also had less brain shrinkage in regions affected by Alzheimer's disease. And here's the reality. 30 to 40% of dementia cases are attributable to modifiable risk factors, including physical inactivity. The minimum effective dose, just twice per week for at least 6 months for structural brain changes. This is your insurance policy against cognitive decline. This is what strength training provides that cardio and stretching cannot. At the Strength Laboratory, we're not just building bodies, we're protecting brains. So, how does strength training protect your brain? The mechanism is BDNF, brain derived neurotrophic factor. Think of it as your brain's growth hormone. Research shows that exercise promotes the expression of brain derived neurotrophic factor through the action of the ketone body B hydroxybutyrate. During intense exercise, especially strength training, lactate is produced. Now, that lactate crosses the blood brain barrier and triggers BDNF production in your hippocampus. BDNF does remarkable things. It promotes neurogenesis, the growth of new brain cells. It enhances neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to adapt and rewire. It improves learning and memory consolidation. It protects against cognitive decline. Studies confirm that the positive effects of consistent physical activity on neuroplasticity and cognitive functions are clear, particularly through the stimulation of BDNF production. The increase in BDNF fosters improved neuromuscular development, neuronal development, enhanced learning and memory capabilities, and helps prevent cognitive decline. This is why we train hard at the Strength Laboratory, not just for muscles, for brains. The intensity matters, the effort matters, the challenge to your system matters, your brain matters. Here's something most people don't realize about what we do at the Strength Laboratory. We stack the deck in your favor. Every single session delivers multiple adaptations simultaneously. You're not just choosing between cardio or strength training or rehabilitation. You're getting all of it. Cardiovascular, those EMOM complexes. Your heart rate is training at zones that are burning fat the entire time. You're getting legitimate cardiovascular conditioning without ever stepping on a treadmill. The work to rest ratios we use drive anaerobic and aerobic adaptation. Neurological. Every dynamic effort rep is rewiring your brain to muscle pathways. You're not just building muscle, you're rebuilding the wiring that controls it. Movement mastery. Velocity based training gives you instant feedback on technique. When your speeds drop, something broke down mechanically. You learn to move perfectly because the numbers don't lie. Decline reversal. We're actively rebuilding what age takes away. Fast twitch fibers, neurological drive, rate of force development, motor unit synchronization. The things that disappear first, we target them directly. Rehabilitation. If you're coming back from an injury or surgery, our methodology restores function. The variable resistance, the oscillatory work, the controlled chaos. It all rebuilds capacity that was lost. Rehabilitation. And if you're not injured, we're bulletproofing your body before problems occur. Building resilience, creating redundancy in your movement systems. Insurance against future breakdown. Our methodology, 6 adaptations every single session. That's why our members get results that seem almost impossible. They're not doing more work. They're simply doing smarter work, work that compounds across multiple systems simultaneously. At a regular gym, you'd need 6 different programs to get what the Strength Laboratory delivers in one session. Let me be direct with you about what makes the Strength Laboratory different. While everyone else is doing cardio on treadmills and stretching and yoga classes, resigned to the idea that decline is simply inevitable, our members are doing something radically different. They're training with velocity-based technology that measures every repetition in real time. They're using implements that unlock muscle fibers that conscious effort can't even reach. They're following a science-driven program based on peer-reviewed research. They're not accepting limitation. They're reversing it. This is the cutting edge of anti-aging science. Not supplements, not biohacks, not wishful thinking. Real training, measured results, neurological optimization. At the Strength Laboratory, we don't just help people age gracefully. We help them unlock a portion of the unlimited human potential that exists in everybody. Potential that conventional fitness never touches. Here's what I want you to take away from everything we discussed. Strength is your insurance policy to independence. Not just muscle strength, neurological strength, the ability to fire fast, to react quickly, to catch yourself when you stumble, to move from accelerator to brake in an emergency. The dynamic effort method isn't just another training technique. It's your protection against the decline that everyone else accepts as inevitable. The gym is your training ground. Life is the game. Every rep you do with maximum velocity, every oscillatory movement that fires those 270 contractions per minute, every chaotic water bag exercise that forces your nervous system to adapt, it all transfers to the real world. The higher the transfer of training effect as we age, the better. At the Strength Laboratory, we're not just preparing you for the gym. We're preparing you for life. For playing with your grandkids, for traveling independently, for living without fear of falling, for keeping your mind sharp and your body capable. Train like it matters, because it does. If you or someone else could benefit from our training methodology at the Strength Laboratory, give us a call at 562-245-6460 or visit us on the web at www.thestrengthlaboratory.com. We'll get back to you, set you up to come on in for a visit, do a longevity analysis, and if you're a good fit, we'll start changing your life.